All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Aravaipa Rides podcast. We are doing the mid-Insomniac series edition today. I've got with us today is Marion Shoyu and Robert Cogburn again. They're going to be our Insomniac crew for the whole summer. Welcome, guys. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Marion, welcome back to the States. I know you had a nice little trip out of the country there recently. I'm just going to put it out here at the top of the podcast. You missed the last race.
I know.
But don't worry, you're still doing pretty well in the series standings. So, getting into it with the races though, what have we've had 4 races so far, and what do you guys think so far of we've got new courses, we've had new categories added. Give me your thoughts, Robert. I'll let you go first since you haven't missed any races yet.
I would say Santan was a huge turnout. Yes. Obviously, we had a huge turnout. A lot of Foundry kids, obviously.
Sure.
Race as expected. I mean,
Yep.
It's our home track, obviously, so everything worked as well as I thought it would. And what was our second one?
That was Adrenaline. I was at McDowell.
At McDowell. Same thing. I think it was. We had the state championships the following day there, so the crowd wasn't as big, but still a great course, fast track, obviously. So that was a good one. And then what was the third one? Hypnosis.
That's Estrella.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So yes,
we'll need some,
so Estrella. Yes, Estrella. We did a new course out there. Many of us had no idea that course existed. Much better than the Estrella everybody knows of. Awesome course. Can't wait to race that one again. And then of course we just finished up at Usury, which for a lot of us is kind of our home track as well. A lot of us ride there. Huge turnout. Lots of new faces. And a lot of the categories were stacked with a lot of fast racers. So it's been good so far. Good for me at least.
Excellent. From your perspective?
Well, that's the one I missed. I was not at Usury, but I would say the one at McDowell is one of my favorite courses. I really enjoyed this one, and then also really enjoyed discovering those new trails at Istria because we're so used to racing the comp loop. That was refreshing, even though I was pretty tired. I only did 2 loops, but really enjoyed those 2 loops.
Excellent. Yeah, shout out to Brian and the West Valley Trail Alliance. They helped us put that course together. They've been working quite a bit with the rangers at Estrella, and hopefully next step, or one of the next steps on their list is to work on those comp tracks too. So maybe in the future we go back to the comp tracks if they do get cleaned up and made a little bit more fun to race. But yeah, I thought so too. I mean, I rode that course many times trying to get the right loop for the race, and it definitely made a difference over the comp loops from before. Awesome. In that case, since we're catching up now to what we had, I wanted to kind of jump right into the Insomniac, course standing. So I'm going to give you guys that you guys can look at it as well. And then here is our men's standings. Single lap, 3 hour and 6 hour kind of stacked on top of each other as they are.
So I think we needed a lot more women in these races.
Well, I think that's a very good comment. Yes. You need 4 races minimum to qualify for the Insomniac points for this championship series. So right now, for those that you'll see that are highlighted in yellow, those folks only have 2, which means they need to race the last 2 races. If they don't come out to Vertigo at the next race, they're going to be off the boards entirely. So that you'll see that those numbers are going to crunch down quite a bit if we don't see some of them come out. The ones that are highlighted in green are the ones who are registered for Vertigo. So for some of those are already 3 and 4 whatnot races deep. Some of them are in that 2 race category. So there are some that will be hitting that number 3 at least and still have a chance, and there will be some that if they don't come out will drop off the boards. I'll go to Marion first. Your comment on the women. What do you think of the I don't know if you know any of the women in the one loop category or not.
Not necessarily,
okay.
But it's a good start. There's 6 of them. Hope they all come out to race the next one.
Yeah, we've got definitely a couple there, and obviously your opponent in the 3 hour is out there too, Angela. She has to hit this one if she's in that 2 race only category, but she's registered for Vertigo, so she's going to have at least a chance to stay in it. And the numbers, I mean, if you look at the points too, in the women, you know, they're starting with that single loop category, that single loop group. You know, there's Kayla's up there at the top, but she's not unreachable, right, by any of the others. So if they do come out and hit up those points, it's still kind of anyone's ball game. Should Kayla have a poor race coming up here? So
Yeah.
definitely some opportunity for some of these standings to change before the end. Robert, what do you think of the men?
Well, I know a handful of the folks, obviously, in the one lap, which, you know, just I've met a handful of,
Sure.
you know, the new riders and stuff racing that category. So, yeah, when I was thinking about it originally, I was thinking you miss one race and you could get leapfrog pretty quick.
Absolutely.
So for me, I'll end up doing the entire series, obviously, but yeah, that always plays in the back of my mind. It's like, man, one bad race, or I just don't sign up or something. Yeah, you could be, you know, go to second just that fast. So,
Yep.
obviously the one lap has been, you know, I think 1, 2, and 3 have been that way every single race, and then I got one buddy in the 3 hour, Justin.
Okay.
He's I think he's been holding right around second, third for most of those races, and then in the 6 hour solo, Steve Carlson is one of my teammates. And I think that one's been an interesting one, because I think the 6 hour solo category, it's almost had a new winner every race, or different you know, men are jumping in those categories. So that one's an interesting one for sure. But yeah, there's quite a few tight races there.
Yeah, to your last point that you're making, before I cleaned this up after the last race, after Stunner, we still had a lot of people who had just done one race or something like that. So my, you know, the standings looked like this because everybody was still still possible, and then those who didn't come out to Stunner and only had one were automatically eliminated after that point. So yeah, that 6 hour actually had quite a few more names on it, but again, a lot of them were just one time racers. They might have, you know, placed, you know, even podiumed, but because they haven't come out to another race,
right,
you know, those points, you know, were pushed off the board. So
right,
just Steve and Jason right now left, who have at least 2, and just Jason right now, who's registered. So you might want to call up your friend and let him know, like, his first place might be on the line here.
Well, and it's funny because Steve had messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I'm leading the 6 hour category," and he's like, "Now I have to sign up." So I think he's going to. But yeah, he mentioned that. He's like, "Oh, I'm still in the lead. I got to sign up for that thing."
Yep. And I think looking at the other two categories, at the other two groups, the single and the 3 hour, again, you know, your top 3, your top 5 are all pretty easily interchangeable should a bad race or someone not make it to the race or whatnot. So a lot of folks could make some changes here if things don't come out the way they have been. You know, you said that the top 3, yourself, Brian, and Joe have generally been 1, 2, and 3, except for the last race when Joe picked off second.
Yeah.
Brian took a wrong turn and wasn't able to catch back up to him to make it. But yeah, it's been the 3 of you, right? Every race so far. So
yeah,
I think Joe missed the last.
He did,
before
yeah.
Stunner.
Yeah,
it was the one that he missed, but he's still right up there. He's had enough. He's qualified for so many all the way through. So
yeah, it's awesome.
Definitely will be interesting to see and see if any those guys still. I mean, you told me offline here before we started that you're planning on registering here soon for it, but you know, to see if Brian, Joe, or even Alex there. Is the next one down who has 2, and he has to be out here for this one if he wants to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens after Vertigo.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Mara, you missed the conversation earlier too. I was talking with Robert downstairs before we got started here, and something that we're trying to do this year, and I hope I'm not jinxing myself by putting it out on the podcast before it even happens, but because we were doing the series, the running side of the company and the Insomniac running series has done series points for a few years, but they've never really done anything afterwards. So we're actually trying to plan a kind of like after series party for
awesome.
sometime in probably late September, early October. We'll have to figure out the right timing. But do something with our friends at Oso Brewery is where we're looking, and kind of bring, it'll be open invite for both the running and the riding side, but to celebrate just a series, celebrate the sports, celebrate each other, celebrate the summer's over, and we can actually start looking for some cool temperatures here.
Daytime riding.
Riding,
exactly.
yeah. Don't need to burn out your lights all the time. And then hopefully that's when we'll do the awards for the series too, and we'll have a kind of a special award ceremony for those who have made it all the way through, and we'll be taking home a little extra bling on top of the regular bling. So, yeah, it'll be I think it'll be fun, and like I said, I hope I'm not jinxing it by saying it early and putting it out there, so everyone's going to be able to hear it happen, and then all of a sudden. Now it has to be on, but yeah, that's we're looking to do something. I think it'll be fun and a fun way to wrap up everything, and then look forward to day racing too. You know, you just said day riding, but you know our races all flip over to daytime hours after Hangover in September. So we'll start doing day races and taking advantage of the beautiful weather that we have here in the fall and winter and early spring. So that'll be pretty cool. All right, any last thoughts on the series before? Kind of jump over.
No, I mean, Robert, you better start training because you've got some serious competition here.
Yeah, the men's single loop is definitely the tightest, right? I mean, 400. Brian's right behind you with 350, and Joe's right behind him with 250. So, yeah, certainly could be a completely different situation here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been fun with those guys too, because I know Brian asked me after the Australia race.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey, when you get a lead like that, do you like slow down? Do you just keep going?" I said, "Man, I am full bore the whole way.
Right.
You just never know, chain problems, tire problems. I'm like, I don't look back, I just go, right?"
Yep.
And then Joe was telling me at the user race, he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "Brian and I were talking. It's like, don't let him get away, don't let him get away." And then all of a sudden, Brian takes a wrong turn, and Joe was yelling at him, and I just take off. So, it's been a fun. After every race, we get together and talk about the race and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a pretty fun 1, 2, 3 combo for us. So.
Right. Nice. It's good to have a good rivalry right now too.
I love being chased.
Bounce off. Yeah.
I go fast when I'm being chased. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, something else that we debuted. So the Rides debuted the series awards, right? But we've also debuted the juniors category this year, and we've had, if you want to call it, two official juniors races, and the first one, which is more kind of like if anyone shows up, we'll kind of have you guys in your own little category, and we'll figure something out. And we had a couple in that one. It's grown bigger, of course, over the last couple races. It's still kind of a work in progress. We're trying to figure out exactly how we want it to look, and we want to make it as inclusive as possible for an entire age group. Robert, I know you don't have kids in the category, but you coach them.
Lots of kids.
What have they said for those who have raced the category, and those and a lot of them raced in what would be considered, I guess, the adult categories prior to having a junior only? Have you seen any or heard any feedback from them on?
Yeah, I think everything from the youth kids, they just love the environment. They all love racing, right?
Sure.
They just love the competition part of it, and a lot of them are racing against their friends and the kids they ride with, every day, stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of positive feedback from the youth, and then anywhere from the 1 lap to the 3 hour to the 6 hour to the duo. I think all the kids from Foundry and any other of the local clubs like that, they really enjoy the environment and just the racing.
Excellent.
And I think they love obviously the competition against their friends and just riding at night. And
sure.
Yeah, so it's all positive.
Excellent.
For sure.
Excellent. That's great. So as we're, again, constantly kind of evolving it, right now we have it set as a kind of an 8 to a 14-year-old age group. From what I've seen, the 15 and 16-year-olds can hold themselves pretty well against the adults in most of these laps. So, in fact, at the Stunner race last time, our 6 hour the entire podium was a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old.
Wow. Yep.
And then number 4 was 46 or 47, Joe Tanner. Or was it Dave Tanner? I'm sorry. I think it was
probably
Dave
Dave
Tanner.
Yeah.
So yeah, those older, the second half of high school age kids seem to be able to hold themselves up with the adults pretty well. So we're, again, I'm sure there's a 15 or 16-year-old out there who couldn't race with those kids as well. But we're trying to make it as like, how is it going to work where everyone has a good competition,
right?
In there, and obviously you can't make it too easy for those who are really skilled and too difficult for someone who just picked up a bike. But I think like the 8 to 14 kind of seems like a good beginner portion, whether you're a club kid or not. You can kind of get in there and get some good racing in.
Well, and I think too, like we have some of those kids that are in that 12 to 13 age bracket,
sure,
but they know they can hang with
Right.
A 3 hour, this or that. So I think they've stepped out of that. Like, I'm not going to race against the younger kids. I'm going to step up a category. So I saw a little bit of that at Usury, which was great.
Yeah, for sure. We're not going to do a whole lot of heavy policing on our side for that, obviously.
Right.
I think if you're a parent or you're a kid and you kind of know that they can hang with an adult, then maybe you do. I'm not going to say one way or the other. But if someone comes in and smokes all the other kids by 30 minutes,
right.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't know how much fun that is for the kid either, right? So I don't
Right.
want to. I'm not going to say anything one or the other, but you want it to be a fun experience for everybody, including that person who wins.
Right.
Kids, you like to be chased.
Right.
They probably like to be chased as well, not leave everybody completely in the dust. So I know the juniors one is a big one. Again, back to the running side of our company, we've never done age groups in any race or category. And so having an age group is like completely foreign to all of us, and we're all kind of sitting here scrambling in these, head bashing sessions, trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. For the next couple of races, we've made a couple of changes. Whereas Stunner, we did the same course. They did the same 10-mile loop. Vertigo is going to be slightly different. We're going to cut it a little bit short just to take out that backside climb. And then Hangover, we took out the front side, that really rocky climb too. So making it a little bit different. They'll actually have their own course to a degree, but I think it'll still be a fun course for each person to be out there for. All right, since I mentioned it, I'll kind of jump into Vertigo. So Vertigo is the next race. It's out at White Tanks. It is on the 19th of August. We have a 6-hour duo and solo. We've got a 3-hour and a 7-mile category. And, of course, the junior. Junior is going to be about 5.5 is how we've measured it so far. 5.6, I think, if you want to be technical about it. So, Robert, you've got the, at least last year, I did not look beyond last year, but yeah, you've got, of course, last year's first, 28:37, pretty blistering.
I thought it was
course.
Around 28 something, yeah.
Pretty blistering. Not for the 9/10 of the course, but just that last climb is it's a slow climb, right? You'd have to take your time and get up and around it. And if you miss your footing there at a couple of those turns, it could be a little bit of a devastating climb for you.
Right.
Tell me about your strategy for it, how you kind of look at that back half.
Yeah, so that course there, like I told you before, I always try to break the course down, right? Like, and I always say, get to this point. Get through that. So for that course there, it's pretty fast and flowy to get to the switchback climb.
Yep.
And then it's just kind of survival mode. And I can normally make it up without tapping or anything like that. So get up that climb. The backside for me is a little chunky.
Yeah.
And then once you get off of that, then it's nice and flowy all the way back. And then to me, it's get to the parking lot area to finish the little tiny part, and then get to the finish.
The beginner loop.
Yeah. So my first thought is just get to those climbs as fast as I can.
Gotcha. Nice. You missed that race last year. One of the few. I think you missed a couple of them. But you've you've ridden the course. Tell me about your strategy. How do you like to ride it?
Well, for me, I don't know if I really have a strategy, but like Robert said, like you have that milestone. So I've ridden the course at MBA, so they include the tech part. So I think that's like the first step. And then obviously for this one, we would just want to get to that climb. And then I sessioned, some of the turns on that climb because it's not easy. Like it's really technical and hard. Like if you take the turn the wrong way, like you're gonna hike a bike for the rest of the climb. So we're trying to be good there and then get to the top. And I actually really enjoyed the backside, like that descent. I tried. We sessioned also over there a bunch of time to kind of try to find the fastest line. So it's a lot of fun. And then, the rest of it is just like hauling back down and trying to make it as fast as possible. So, I really enjoyed that course.
And I knew you'd enjoy the backside of that, by the way.
Yeah, I like the techie, the chunky stuff.
I just wanted to get off that and get back on the fast, smooth stuff.
Yep. Well, I was out there last week doing kind of an early course preview and just kind of see how how it was, the conditions of the course and stuff like that. I defer to you guys. You're both better riders than me no matter what. So I did hike a bike both times I went up the the incline, 2 different spots. So I can say I made it further at least one time, but I screwed up the second time around. I like coming down the back hill, so I'll agree with you. I do actually like having that, and I don't think I did before. So I don't know if it's just maturity on the bike a little bit better, or whatnot. But it wasn't. I kind of disliked both halves, up and down. But I definitely liked coming down both times last week when I was out there. There's that first turn on the first switchback coming down. It's like a really sharp left that's narrow as well. And this is probably about the only part that I'm like, ooh, every time.
Well, it's kind of dug out too, right? Yeah. So you kind of have to either go in that or above it. Yeah.
You kind of you pick your poison on it.
Yeah.
And that's after that I'm good. It's like, and then like you said, it's kind of like finding that fast line that's not going to get you up and over something, rather than like cutting through in between and stuff like that. So
once you find the right line, like, because some stuff is off camber too, so once you find where you're comfortable, you can just like put in the speed.
Yep. The one thing I haven't done, aside from course marking, which is not exactly the same kind of riding, obviously, is actually ride it at night. So I'm kind of interested. At some point, maybe I'll have to go out there at night and ride it, just to see the whole, put it all together as a night ride versus, course marking and stopping all the time, because that one I've only ridden that course during the day. Okay, Vertigo. Yeah, so did you ride Vertigo with us in previous years? I know not last year, but in prior years before that.
No, I don't think I've actually ridden at night, so I'm kind of like, I don't know, that backside definitely seems a little sketchy at night.
Sure.
But hopefully I know that course, and then I know you guys have like the aid station not too far, so
right.
Hopefully everything goes well.
Yep. That's I guess the one good thing about that one, and that you've got the aid station, you kind of can hit it both times.
Yeah.
So, not that, in a 7-mile course, you necessarily need to stop for anything,
Nope.
But it's nice to be able to say, ooh, it is there if I we have a tire pump out there, that kind of thing.
For sure.
And if it's get through the technical part, and then after that it's the fast and flowy, and you just hammer it down and go for it. Very cool. All right, and the very last race of our season is Hangover. We go back to McDowell for that one. Different course than Adrenaline at McDowell. So we're out of the Four Peaks. We're out of the Pemberton Trailhead, using the Pemberton Trail. One big loop, depending on, or as many as you want, I guess you could say, right? It's one big loop rather than a bunch of trails cobbled together, is what I was, I guess, trying to go for. You just go in Pemberton. We go clockwise, so you get through the rockier stuff first, get out to the aid station, then again it's the flowy, fun downhill all the way back. 3 hour, right, as well as the one lap for you again this year, if you sign up.
Oh, I will.
I will. Once again, you're not signed up yet. But for everyone else, there's a 12-hour solo, trio, duo, and quad team options, and then 6-hour duo and solo. And then we do a 1 lap, and because we do a 2 lap rather than a 3 hour. So it's about roughly 3 hours. So we kind of qualify that as the same. You guys have both ridden that one, of course, in the past. I wrote down Marion's last year, 2:51:42 was your time last year to win your piece, first female. So excellent job. So that's the number to beat. I'll defer to you first on this one. What are your thoughts on that course? What's your favorite part? What do you look out for?
To be honest, I don't quite remember the whole thing, but I just know I enjoyed, having one big loop as opposed to having like a bunch of like 7-mile loops to do.
Sure.
Because you can get out pretty far. So yeah, and then that's also like the one that closes the series. So I'm pretty stoked for that too.
Very nice. To answer, and I probably won't have it all because it has been a little while since I've ridden it, but you had the first quarter or so, let's just kind of guess it a little bit here. It's kind of like it's lowland. You're kind of going through some washes, kind of like up and down, nothing too crazy. As you get around the corner and kind of start heading into the like north and westish of it, it does get a little chunkier. There's a big kind of rocky climb. It's a slow climb, not too steep, not too but it's long and kind of rocky. So it's a little bit technical to get up there. And then once you get through that, it's a little bit of flowy, kind of, again, some more washes. You're up on a couple of levees, and then you eventually make it to about the midway point where the aid station is at Granite Tank. And then from there, it's like a smooth I don't know, 5 or 6 miles coming straight down, all downhill, just perfectly groomed trail, as if somebody went through it with a broom ahead of time and and cleared it out for you. Definitely a nice way to end the loop too, because you put your work in early on, and then you just take advantage of the downhill afterwards. Robert, to you, what do you look out for on this one?
Very similar thing. So obviously getting up that first climb, right, the rocky climb, and then getting to Jackass Junction.
Yep.
That's my get to spot. And you climb out of that a little bit, and then it's just flowy. And we ride McDowell enough just on the weekends and stuff, just with group rides and stuff. So, we can come down Pemberton with our eyes closed, and we just know it so well. Yeah. And it's one of those courses or just trails that there's so much switchback, and you're going so fast that you just kind of get tired of doing it. Like, give me something else, because it's just nonstop, but it's fun.
Going, yeah.
But so that same thing. Put in a little work in the beginning, and then just haul ass on the way back.
Enjoy the rest of it.
Yep.
It's a funny story. That was I run as well as not everybody out there knows, but I run and ride as well, and that was my first night and trail race, not counting like high school cross country and stuff like that. So I had signed up for it. This was probably 12 years ago or 13 years ago or so. I had gone out. It had a different name back then. I did just one loop on Pemberton at night without a light. So that's how green I was.
Oh, wow.
Pretty hardcore.
Because it didn't cross my mind that I would need one until about 2 hours in, when all of a sudden it was dark enough that I needed to follow the guy in front of me and stay with him, or else I was going to be just out in the middle of the darkness.
It's a good strategy.
So it made me keep going at least.
Nice.
That was my first. But I've loved Pemberton ever since, and that's kind of where I was going with it, because I did a couple of training runs out there in the day. And then I've always loved doing that loop, and I can do it one way or the other. I can do the chunky stuff on the backside of it and have the nice smooth climb, or I can do the chunkier stuff climbing and then have the nice smooth descent. But I don't know. It's just that it's a good distance for like a good workout. That's not like all day or half the day. It's a good hour or two out there, and you can still make it home and have the whole day in front of you, but know that you're like, wow, I did work it, because that long climb will do that to you.
I think mine was just shy of an hour. I think.
Yeah,
it was
probably
59 something. He said an hour.
I'm more like I'm more like 90 minutes, I think, on it. All right. Well, those are the two races that are left. What other thoughts do you guys have on the series so far, or coming up? Thoughts or trepidations?
I mean, really enjoyed it. Kept me in shape through the summer, even if we were talking about that earlier. I was in France for a month, so definitely had way too much cheese and croissants. But it's a nice series. You get out of the heat for a little bit, and you can camp, be with your friends. I think it's a really good format.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I agree. It does. It keeps us all going, because you're either up at 4 a.m. or you're going out at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. to get in a ride. And if you didn't have these races, I'd be probably doing the same thing, sitting at home and watching a little bit too much television or whatnot too. But I have to check out all these courses for you, so that makes me have to go out there too and do it. So whether or not it's just a fun ride or like a work ride, quote unquote, I'm out there, and it's something that I wouldn't have been doing otherwise. So it's definitely good to kind of keep us going in this type of heat. Last thoughts?
The series. I think for me, it's going as planned. I definitely like the points thing, because it does kind of keep you from, like I said, not just like some of the folks you point out, maybe did a race or two races. If you want to go for that points championship, I guess, a series championship, it kind of keeps you engaged, and you want to do all of them. And then I think just with no other races going on right now, right, for the kids,
right,
for all the kids that we coach and stuff, it keeps them busy, and it keeps them on their bikes and on the trails. But no, I think so far everything's gone as planned, and it's always a good environment, good music, good food. I think everyone's having a good time.
Great.
Yeah, shout out to the aid stations. Like, you guys have the best aid stations.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it. Actually, in fact, I'll add my own last thought in here too, because it was one that crossed my mind as you were talking, and not by anything that you were saying, just something totally different. but kind of in the sense of like, it's going to grow, right? The series is going to grow, and the more we talk about it, and if we can get this party off the ground and have something that's a little bit memorable, put it out on Instagram or whatnot too, so that some folks can see it and like, oh, I should have done more than one or two. I should do 3 or 4 next year, and really get, hey, my name was on there at one point, and darn it, I skipped 2 races and now it's not. I was going to ask you guys about the media. So I don't know if you paid attention to the first 3 races where we did have media teams out there. Jamil and Enzo and some others were out doing still photography and video. Did you happen to follow up on any of the things that came out on YouTube or on our social pages from that? Did you happen to see any?
I follow you guys both on Instagram and Facebook. And the things that I saw, which was kind of cool, and obviously when you see yourself or something, it's kind of neat. But some of the drone footage.
Sure.
Was pretty cool, especially at night because you just see lights, and you guys show the beginning of the race, and I kind of take off, and then you get an aerial view, and you just see the lights start breaking away, and you see where you start breaking away from the crowd and stuff. Yep. So it's kind of neat to see that.
Yep. I think that's another. I brought it up because I think it's another aspect that we can now show other people as well. It's like it's not just a race, right? We do have it is it's a party, right?
Yeah.
It's a party out there, and we have fun, and some of those shots, when they put them all together into a 2 or 3 minute reel, it really just shows in that 3 minutes, everything that we have. There's a shot from the aid station. There's a shot of our leaders taking off. There's fun stuff happening at the start and the finish line and stuff like that. So keeping it fun, keeping it competitive, and just making it a good time for everyone who comes out.
Well, and I think something, and you had mentioned this a few races ago to me, I really enjoy what you guys have done with the environment where you're making it more of a village. Right, trying to keep everyone together rather than having you guys do your thing over here and people are setting up over here and setting up over here. I mean, everyone's kind of setting up in the same area, so you're just with everybody the entire time, and I like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool you guys are trying to do that. So
yeah, each race I think we've gotten a little bit better. Again, kind of evolving, trying to figure out, like you said, how do we get everybody to be together, but not in the way of each other, not in on the course and that kind of stuff. Try to invite more vendors or sponsors who want to come out to these races as well. And again, where do we put them where they are in the center of everything, but not in the way, or that kind of thing, where they feel like they're like, wow, I could be trampled, or that kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely been a conscious effort. And then I think to you guys as well point, having the teams out there is something that's a little bit different for us from the running side of things that we've had all this experience with for all these years, because we generally don't have relays, which means you don't have teams. So you don't have large tents and large people, a large groups amount of people coming out. If they are, they're all just friends who come and hang out anyway. But it's not like a organized group that is like, hanging out, and half the people are out on their race on their lap, and the other half are waiting for plus they've got the crew and the supporters. So that's a totally different thing for us.
Right.
And I think it was sinister when you guys brought your team tent the first time.
Yeah.
And we saw what could be, right? You guys were the only ones with the tent, I think, that at that race, but you're not the only team out there. You're not the only team with a tent. So we're like, we need to, rethink our whole little start finish little village.
Right.
We need to expand it. We need to make this a little bit more comprehensive and make room for that kind of thing, so that we can be as welcoming for all of you coming in. And still, for like that one single rider, isn't completely overwhelmed. They've got a space for that. They might be a 12-hour soloist. They need a chair and a cooler and whatnot.
Right.
So they need to have their space too, just like you might have for your 20 or 30 teammates in the tent and the chairs and whatnot too. So definitely something that we've had to look at, and again, evolve as we go and kind of figure out where where it's going to fit, where all the pieces will fit. It's been cool though. It's been fun. I mean, just seeing from pictures from last year and years before to what we're doing now, and we keep records and site maps and everything, so you can kind of look at how everything was spread out, and it's getting closer, and it's getting into this, like you said, a village, like a true village of merry folk.
Yeah, no, it's neat.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a really good vision for these years, so I'm excited to see how it evolves and how it grows.
Definitely. I mean, we've had 6 races, or we'll have 6 races this year. We'll come back even stronger next year with we'll have some ideas in the off season. I won't spill any of the secrets yet. I spilled the one for OSA, but we've got some really fun ideas for the 2 fall/winter races that are November, December coming up. So there's going to be some really fun stuff going there, and that's I'm really excited to hopefully soon start some of that too, to again, kind of build on the excitement of the race day, not just going out there and racing whatever the course is, but like having the event as a bigger and more fulfilling event for everybody, including our spectators, including our crew and all that stuff too. So we've got some really cool ideas coming up for that too.
Cool.
I'm not sure when we'll do it, but we'll announce it soon. Probably on one of these podcasts.
There you go.
All right. I said it once before. Any other last thoughts?
No, I think I really like the point system this year. I hope it incentivizes other people that just, sign up for the whole thing, because then again, it's not super expensive. Like those races are really affordable, and if you sign up for all 6 of them, it's a really good deal, and then you get to race throughout the summer. So it's a good way to get out there.
Yep. Sign up early. It's cheaper.
Yep.
Let everyone know.
Early bird.
And for the record, like you said, I haven't signed up, so I am one of those people, and I do it with just about every race. Is I will wait and keep refreshing, seeing who's signing up, what category.
Yep.
A big thing for me, like I was telling Aaron earlier, I have never liked to race against my teammates. I always feel like I'm taking a spot from you, you're taking a spot from me. So I kind of look and see where everybody kind of places themselves, and then I'll jump into whatever category they're not racing. So for the Big Woody coming up,
right.
I'm waiting to see where everybody lands and jump in that one.
That
so
spot.
I will sit there and Strava stalk people, see who you are, what you're all about before I jump in there. I put a lot of effort into this, but
excellent. Very nice. Yeah, that's definitely something that we could let everyone know. If you do it early, it gets cheaper, because it gets the way the matrix works. It gets a little bit more expensive every 4 to 6 weeks or so. So, and definitely a little incentive for the series as a whole too. Whether you do it as 1 or 2 races, or you do the whole thing, it's for me. I know for me, like having the mental clarity of like, all right, I've got these 6 on the board. Like I need to get ready for them versus just 1, and who knows what's going to happen for the rest of the summer or the rest of the year.
Right.
I like to have my whole calendar planned out, I guess. Excellent. Well, will you guys come back again at the end? We'll do a wrap-up podcast probably sometime, obviously after Hangover, but it's sometime maybe around that party if we can get it going. We'll do another kind of whole series wrap-up, talk about everything, talk about the final standings, and see where everything lands.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. As I had said earlier, we do have 2 races left in the Insomniac series. Vertigo Night Rides is on August 19th. Hangover follows on September 16th. We do Monday night group rides at South Mountain at 6:30 p.m. every Monday night. So it's a fun no drop kind of ride. Just come out and ride for about an hour, and we do a social afterwards. The first ride, or rather the first week of every month, we do a giveaway too. So we have some fun prizes, and sometimes there's a race entry or 2 in there. So you can make sure that if you're going to come out to one of those, make sure that's the one you come out to. Robert just mentioned we do, and in addition to the last 2 Insomniac races, we do have the Big Woody, which is up in Flagstaff. That's on August 13th, so just around the corner. Day race, not night. 6-hour, 12-hour, and a 27 and 13 and a half mile categories in there. So come up, get out of the heat a different way, not at night, but just up in the altitude, ride under the pines with us, and enjoy the Big Woody. We do have some other races coming up, which we'll talk about on our social media and other podcasts to come. But those are the 3 that are coming up next, and hopefully you guys can join us at them. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.